Ramlal demonstrated how the master would sing and dance in ecstasy. When the master would sing this song, "O Mother, this world is a marketplace of crazy people," he would dance in a certain way where he would raise his left hand up and his right hand would be parallel to his left shoulder. Then he would bend and twist his right knee, stamp his right foot on the floor, and turn at the waist. When the master was in a great mood, he would dance back and forth and also in a circle. When he would sing, "O Mother, you live in various moods," he would dance, clapping his hands, moving his waist, and keeping the rhythm with his feet. Nowadays, the songs of the master that he used to sing are sung in a different tune, and it is jarring to my ears. If someone broke the rhythm while singing, the master would cry out, "Ooh-hoo, ooh-hoo." But if the person sang with devotion and deep absorption, such irregularity would not disturb him. He was not interested in the meters and the ragas, or the science of music. The master sang in ecstasy, and his voice was soft, sweet, and melodious. Sometimes when he was singing, he would improvise some joyous phrase. I saw the master enter into samadhi many times while singing. Sometimes he would ask me or Swamiji to sing, and while listening, he would again enter into samadhi. When I sing accompanied by drums, my mind dwells on the rhythm of the drums, and for that reason it is hard for me to sing wholeheartedly for God. Noticing this, the master used to say, "Suppose a man is singing kirtan rhythmically, repeating, 'My Nitai is a mad elephant.' Gradually, when his emotion deepens, he repeats Hate, and at last he goes into samadhi, only saying Ha." The master usually got up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and as soon as he got out of bed, I would wake up. When he went to the pine grove, I would either lead the way or follow him with a jug and towel. He would then go to the pond, throw off his cloth, and sit on the ghat, dangling his legs. I would bring him water, and he would wash his face and hands and feet. After covering himself with his towel, he would return to his room. Meanwhile, I would quickly scour the jug, wash his cloth, and then hurry after him. In his room, he would put on a fresh cloth and go to the southern veranda to brush his teeth. And after that, he would take a little Ganges water on his palm and sprinkle it on his head, saying, "Brahmavari, Brahmavari, Ganga, Ganga, Hari Om Tat Sat," which means the water of the Ganges is as pure as Brahman, and God is the only reality. Then the master would take some prasad of Jagannath and Kali, and also a few bits of dried bell leaves that had been offered at the shrine of Tarakeshwar Shiva, which he kept in a small bag. With joined palms, he would salute all the holy pictures in his room, and then sit down on the small cot. The master was usually in one of two moods. On some days, he would observe all the traditional methods of purification. On other days, he would completely ignore them. When he was in this second mood, he would not even wash himself properly. He would ask for food as soon as he returned from the pond in the morning, and reluctantly wash his hands with water after eating. One day he explained, "You see, Mother keeps me sometimes in the mood of a child, sometimes in the mood of a madman, and sometimes in the mood of a carefree soul. At about 9 or 10 in the morning, after he had finished talking with the devotees, I would rub oil on his body, but I would put oil on his head only with his permission. One day, without asking first, I put my hand on his head in order to rub oil on his hair, and he became angry and scolded me, and then he suddenly went into samadhi. I was struck dumb with wonder, and my heart began to pound in fear. After a long time, he gave a deep sigh and came back to the normal conscious plane and told me, "Do not put your hand on my head that way. There is no telling what spiritual condition I may be in. Ask for permission before you touch my head." On another day, seeing a thread on his hair, I automatically reached out my hand to remove it. And again he got very angry and said, "What? You are touching my head again?" I had forgotten his warning. After oil had been rubbed on him, he would go to the Chandni Ghat at the Ganges for a bath, and then go to the Kali temple. There he would decorate the mother with flowers or offer flowers and bell leaves at her feet. Sometimes he would put flowers on his own head and then merge into samadhi. The master suffered from stomach trouble during the rainy season, and he would then eat only rice, bitter squash curry, and soup. Hridayram and I slept on the floor of the master's room. Once at midnight, we woke up to find him cutting vegetables and gathering rice and spices. Hridayram said to the master, "Uncle, what are you doing? Can't you do that in the morning? Both of us are here. We will do everything for you. Why don't you go to bed and sleep? And besides, uncle, your household work makes me laugh. That quantity of vegetables and rice is hardly enough for one person. You are so miserly." The master replied, "Look, when I woke up, at first I sat quietly. Then I thought that it was not good to sit idle, so I should do some household work. Some people do not know how much food I eat, so they cook too much and waste it. Do you know why I was preparing those things? I have seen the temple officials waste so much food on their plates. Look, Hridayram, you are a son of a high-class Brahmin, and for a morsel of food and some money, you are now working at this Kali temple. If you had land and money and Sihar, would you come here for a job? Learn how to be frugal. Otherwise, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, will leave you." And Hridayram said, "You are right, uncle." One morning, the master asked someone to cut a twig for him so that he could clean his teeth. The person brought 3 twigs. The master took one and said to him, "Rascal, I asked you to bring 1 twig. Why did you bring 3? However, save those 2. The next morning, the master asked the same question for another twig. He said to the same person, when he was about to go to the garden, the master said, "Where are you going? Why don't you give me one of those that you brought yesterday? Without checking the stock, why are you running to get a new one? Have you created that tree? You are about to break its branches at your own whim. Only the Creator knows how difficult it is to create. You are dull-headed. Learn how to work methodically. Do not waste anything." One day the master asked Beni Madhav of Sinti, "Could you bring me some good holy pictures for my room?" Sometime later, Beni Madhav asked me to collect them from him. I brought the master 5 pictures of Dhruva, Prahlad, Gauranga, Jagannath, and Kamali Kamini, a goddess standing on a lotus. Now the last 2 pictures are in Kamarkapur. Formerly, the master and Hriday lived in a large room of the Kuthi, the owner's bungalow, at the Dakshineswar temple garden, and the master's mother slept in an adjoining small room. Often at night, they heard a man wearing shoes go up and down the stairs, opening doors and windows. It was as if a ghost, possibly a European one. The Kuthi had been a European residence before the temple was built. And the master used to say, "We cannot say that this world is entirely false because we actually see it with our own eyes, nor can we say that it is real. For example, just see how this garden has changed. Previously it was a graveyard, and this Kuthi the house of a European. But now the temple and so many other things are here. But later this temple also will vanish, and then who knows what will come next." The master used to say, "Even the dogs and cats of Dakshineswar temple garden are blessed. Look, they are eating Mother's prasad, seeing the Ganges and drinking its water, and roaming around the temples." There was a dog in the temple garden that the master called Captain. Captain quite often sat on the front terrace of the Mother's temple. Whenever the master would call him, the dog would come and roll at his feet, and the master would feed him fried bread and sweets. The master once said, "Look, there are so many dogs, but none of them sits in front of the Mother except Captain. I have not seen any other dog that sits on the steps near the Ganges and drinks Ganga water." Captain has been born as a dog as the result of a curse. He had some good samskaras in his previous life, so he is here. He is a blessed soul. One day the master put a rupee in one hand and some clay in the other, and then threw them both into the Ganga, saying, "Rupee is clay, and clay is rupee." After a while he began to worry that his action might have offended the goddess of fortune, so he went to the Mother's temple. Later he said to me, "Ramlal, I told the Mother everything, and she replied, 'No, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, will not be angry with you. Don't be afraid. Look, these are your suppliers. They will feed you.'" The Mother then showed me a vision. I saw many bubbles rising around the Divine Mother. Gradually, those bubbles took the forms of Mathur, Balaram, Surendra, and many of the other devotees. They were clapping their hands around the Mother and saying, "Victory to Kali, victory to Shiva." After that, they merged with the Mother, one by one. Then I saw some people with white complexion. I shall not be able to meet them, but you will see them. Nowadays, I find that many Westerners have become devotees of the Master. Swamiji, that is, Vivekananda, went to the West and lectured, and as a result, many rich people became his devotees and helped his work.